Hello and welcome to our afternoon session of the talk show. We hope that you enjoyed the first session this morning when we talk about products that engages our emotions. And well, today for the second session, we have in store for you something quite interesting because it is not something that I would say is common and quick to adapt into the industry yet, but we saw a glimpse of what the industry could have been or in the near future with The Mandalorian and virtual production. Now, in 2019, when Jon Favreau brought along the idea of virtual production, it opened up a new possibility of filmmaking and storytelling that that is happening in Hollywood. But in a not so far distant, we have ourselves as well here in Malaysia, XR Stage. So today, for the talk venturing into virtual production, we have both Nixon Thuah, virtual production director for XR Stage, joining us, as well as Nicholas Chan, regional manager from these guys. And welcome, guys, to the talk show.
Hey, hello. Hey,
Hello.
everyone.
Yes, and I do note that Nixon started off his career as a cinematographer, and now I believe he should be the very first virtual production director in Malaysia as well. I think it's. I was told that when it comes down to the first, it's always good to be the first. So congratulations on that.
Okay.
And later we will also be listening from both Nixon as well as Nicholas. And Nicholas comes in terms of how the technology supports virtual production. So what we're going to have today is we're going to have an in-depth talk in terms of how the industry is moving, what exactly virtual production is all about, and the technology that supports it. All right. So to kickstart the talk show, I'll pass the time to Nixon to bring us a little bit into virtual production.
Okay. So I think I need to share the screen, right? Yeah.
Yes,
Give me moments.
sure thing. Here we
Okay.
go.
Can you see now? Okay. Yeah. Hi guys. Let me introduce myself. So okay. Wait a minute. Let me adjust my PowerPoint. Okay. Right. Okay. Let me quick introduce myself. So I'm sure a lot of people don't know where am I. So okay, my name is Nixon Thuah. Okay, start my career as a cinematographer back to I think about 2014. I think maybe a bit earlier as a videographer. Okay, so I've been doing in my first time when I holding the camera. So my first job would be like events and weddings as a videographer. And after the whiles, I get into the more commercials of shootings, and then as a cinematographer. And only the latest, I think the last 2 years, right? So I'm trying to and do some extra apart from cinematographer, and then I try to go into the direction as a director. And then in 2021, I think actually it's last year, 2020. So I come across with virtual productions and also get to know some information about XR technology, and then I'm quite interested with the whole technologies, and then that's why I'm joining to XR Stage Malaysia as a VP director. Okay, so this is my background. Okay, so next one, let me try to explain. Let me do a quick explain about the virtual production. Okay, so doing some slides. So okay, the virtual production is used to suit a suite of software tools to allow studio to combine live actions footage and computer graphic in real time. Contribute across multiple locations, can create a render digital environment while cast members are physical working on set. Okay, so this is what is virtual productions. Okay, so next one, right? I'm doing some a very straightforward chart. So comparing when we're doing a video production, right? There's a traditional productions and virtual productions. So as you can see on the right hand side, on top of the graph is a present of traditional productions. Okay, so actually the process that will be from the development, preparations, and production and post-productions. So you can see in the development parts, so there will be the story. So that means when we shoot any commercial, right, we have to have a story first. When we have the story and storyboard, then the next section we will doing a preparations. That means we're doing the art, like me the storyboard, and then we need to casting talents. We need to look for the locations or some construction. Let's say if you want to build a real set or real props in a studio, Okay, so these all the preparations. So after all the preparation done, so the next section, what we do, we will go into productions. That means production, we will start doing the shooting. So that means the live action shootings, and then also if we need to do some VFX as well, then all will be in the productions sections. And after that, when we shoot all the footage, then we go to the post production. That means we have to editings, do all the editings. Okay, whatever we shoot before, then we add the VFX and we add the sound effect, and then we do the color gradings, and then we combine all the clips, and then final output is the final videos. Okay, this is considered traditional productions. Okay, but in virtual production, there is a slightly different way of the process. As you can see, the bottom one. So the first part also is development, and then the preparations and production and post-production as well. But the difference is between the preparation and development. Okay, so you see the first one, of course, we also have a story first. So we have a story. That means we have involved the director and writer as well, and they came out with a story. And then in the preparation, right? So what we will doing, we will mostly doing all the art departments, and then VFX, and also because we doing virtual production, we have to create the scenes that we want to shoot before we go to shoot. That means we have to create. Let's say we want to shoot, get a shot inside of a coffee shop, right? So in the traditional way, we have to rent a real coffee restaurant. Then we have to put the actor inside. Then we can start the shooting. But in virtual production, it's different way to shooting. So we can create a real 3D scene, a real actual scene of the coffee shop that we want. Okay, and then we can prepare all the props, and then we can place the actor, how they react inside the scene. So all will be done before we doing the shootings. Okay, so that means all the directors and all the talents and all the writers, they can see the storyboard, actual storyboard before when they're shooting. So that means we do all the post-production and production process in the preparation as well. Okay, so when we go down to the productions, then mainly we just doing the shooting, and then in the post we mainly just combine all the clip and then exporting the whole final videos. So this is the difference between when we doing a traditional productions and virtual productions. So in other ways, say in virtual production, sometimes can be saving a lot of times when we want to do the shootings. Okay, so the next slide that will be okay. This is one of the chart. I just really go through the process. Okay, so okay, so this is what also the same process that I shared early. So the first development and pre-production, that will be ideas, and then we go to the art departments and pre-reads, and also the visual department as well. And then we all go to the Unreal Engines, process all the contents, and after that we will project the contents into our LED wall, and then we can shoot everything in real time. And then also once we done the shooting, then we do the post-production, or if we need to add extra VFX, and then there's a final edit. Then yeah, so this is currently our process for all the virtual production shooting. Okay, the next one is advantage, time and cost saving. Okay, why we doing a LED wall? As you can see behind, this is actually is our XR stage, the LED wall. Okay, so why we say it's an advantage of time and cost saving? It because every contents we actually pre-prepare before we shooting. So in the virtual production, we can let's say we can prepare multiple environments or multiple contents, and all inside our computer. So we can project any contents into the wall, then our actor and talent can straight away stand. Now you can see we have a, can you see? Yeah, we have a talent standing there. So we actually can changing different content as well. That means we can, one day we can shoot multiple locations, multiple contents. That means we're saving a lot of time and cost saving. We don't have to send all our crews from location A to location B, or after location B, then we go to location C. So because traveling and all the crew and render the locations and vans and all equipments and time is quite costly. So if we can shoot inside one studio, so we're saving a lot of time and cost as well. So this is the advantage when we are using the LED wall for the virtual productions. So the next advantage that will be enhanced visibility. So why I would say that, because as you can see in the LED wall, so we can actually project our actual scene inside the LED wall. So if the talents stand in the wall, so they can actually see they are in the real scene. So they know what they are doing, and then they know where they stand, and then they can react together with the LED screen. So instead of standing in the green screen, so they have to imagination what are they doing. So this is an advantage when we're doing LED wall. So it's enhanced the visibility. The next one that will be advantage, quick onset transitions. Okay, quick onset transition, as I also mentioned earlier. So let's say we have a storyboard. So we first thing we want to shoot inside the house, and second thing we want to shoot in the gardens, and maybe the third scene we have to shoot in the car, and then the fourth scene we have to shoot inside the coffee shops. So let's say in this four scene we have to shoot the talents in these locations, but in the traditional way we have to prepare all these four scenes in the different locations. That means each time we want to shoot, we have to travel from different locations. So the advantage quick on-set transition means we can prepare all the contents, and then we can project all to the LED wall. Then we can shoot all these five scenes, right, at the same time. That means the crew, the lightings, the directors, and the clients and the talents, they all just have to wait in the studio, and then when our content's ready to project to the LED wall, then they can stand on the LED and we can straight away start the shooting. So it's very quick on set transitions, saving a lot of travel time as well. And also we're doing a global collaboration as well. So because this we're using XR system, so it's that means we actually can doing other country projects. So means if we need some helping, so we can collaboration with different production from different country. So they can, let's say they can create some content for us, then they can send to us, and then we can project in our LED wall, and then we can doing the productions in Malaysia, but the contents can provided from different country. Or we also can create a content to send to different country, so they site they can do the actual shooting as well. So this is what we have been doing at the moment as well. So the next one that will be now is the time for XR. Okay, so I just very quick explain what is XR. So the XR actually is called extended reality. Mean XR is a collective term in live productions, combining AR, VR, and MR element to extend the reality we experience by either blending the virtual in the real world and by creating a fully immersive experience. Okay, so this is the XR. The next one. This is the some of our showroom videos, so you can have a look. Okay, so so the applications. So what XR can actually collaboration with a different, I would say different category. So we can actually the corporate events and educations and film and broadcasting and also live music and e-sport. So all these category also can apply with XR system, then create a very interesting contents. So the next is another shoulder video. Right. Okay. So okay. So let me doing is summary of the whole XR systems. So the key creative are now influenced set in a way they never have before. The real-time feedback loop allows the creative participant in real time, expanding the limit of previous by rendering final pixel and photorealism in camera with little to no post augmentation requirements. Director, DP, and set and decorator, set designer are required to use the real-time virtual production workflow in high definitions. Okay, so next one we have another video. Right. Okay. So the next one's real-time tool like Unreal Engine create a collaborative on-set experience that allow filmmaker to work differently. Right. So another one. Okay. Next one is our one of the music video.
Kita pasti diduga hadap dan saja. Kita perlu bersama, tak boleh percaya. Kita pasti terduga hadapi dengan sabar. Kita perlu percaya, tak boleh percaya. Walaupun negara dilanda bahaya, wabak berjangkit dan juga malah berteka, tak berhenti kita perlu putus asa. Ini untuk keluarga dan juga untuk semua. Ramai yang telah tersungkur jatuh miskin, tak kurang juga yang hidupnya dah terhimpit. Kehilangannya yang tersayang terbayang-bayang, buatkan semangat, jangan putus asa sayang. Kita pasti diduga hadap dan tentu saja. Kita perlu bersama, tak boleh percaya. Kita pasti terbuka, hadapi dengan sabar. Kita perlu percaya, tak boleh percaya. Setiap hari aku hanya berdoa agar Tuhan selesaikan segala pengharapan agar segalanya berakhir. Diberita mutakhir, usaha pasti berhasil. Berapa kali jatuh, adakah masih bangun? Hari bersilih minggu, bulan bermakan tahun. Ku seru semua untuk jangan putus harap, memindah kekal positif walau apa jua tahap. Dugaan hidup ini hanyalah sementara, yang pasti sinar harapan akan muncul jua. Jadi terus berdoa, perlu ada usaha, dan pasti boleh menang untuk semua. Kita yang dicipta, kita mesti boleh terus ke hadapan, tak perlu nak toleh. boleh, jangan putus asa. Kita mesti boleh, apa yang terjadi pasti kita boleh. Kita pasti diduga, hadap dan tentu saja. Kita perlu bersama, boleh, kita boleh berjaya. Kita pasti terduga, hadapi dengan sabar. Kita perlu percaya, kita boleh berjaya.
Okay, so next one we have another show reel. Okay, so I think maybe before I end my introduction, I explained previously. You can see all the show reel is what we've been doing. I would say over this year. So that's mean we create a different contents. As you can see, we have some car scenes, and we also have some one music video, and then we also doing some virtual event stage as well. So this is what we've been doing currently within this year. Okay, so I think my presentation is end from now, and then back to you. Yeah.
Hey, hello. Hey, thanks, Nixon. That's fantastic. So yeah, now it's my turn. Hi, everyone. So I'm Nicholas Chan. I'm here from Disguise and oops, sorry, that's it. Let me walk through quickly some interesting things I'm going to show you about Disguise and about XR in general. So just a bit about me. It's a bit of a grumpy face. I should have smiled more. I actually started out in computer science here in Malaysia. Kind of started out in a lot of post-effect stuff. So I've done the whole post-production processes for many years. I moved on to broadcast, worked at a TV station, specifically Astro. And yeah, since then I worked there. Then I became one of the vendors supplying VR, AR, virtual studio, augmented reality systems to the TV stations in Malaysia. So lucky enough to install quite a lot of them, Astro, Media Prima, RTM, quite a few of it. And then just very recently joined Disguise. So yeah, Disguise was really the platform that you see behind a lot of the cool stuff that Nixon showed earlier. And just a bit about what we do. We actually been in this industry for about like 20 years now, and we actually didn't start off in XR. We started out in concert touring, live events of all things. And since then, we did a lot of stuff. You can see in the show reel. We did stuff with live concerts. We did a lot of projection mapping, which is also a very cool subject coming back now that people can go out to events again. And yeah, this is BTS. We do a lot of AR stuff, and XR was something that is quite, I would say, relatively a new invention. Maybe 2.5, maybe almost 3 years ago. It's something that Disguise devised. The big breakthrough was instead of using green screens, people are using green screens for the last almost 50 years now. We had an idea due to our experience in powering so many of these projects. Why not use LEDs to replace green screens? And we actually succeeded. We didn't know how popular it was going to get, but right now, talking about now today, November, we even have actually 11 XR stages all in Southeast Asia. So not just in the US, not just in Europe, just around the whole world. XR is really something I would say that's just exploded. It's a bit weird now. Even like some of the manufacturers can't build LED screens fast enough to cater to the demand. But I would say that if you're looking for something very cool, very interesting to do, definitely is something that's going to be obviously not just here to stay, but I think it's just going to really explode in the years to come. And our purpose really is the XR is, like I said, really what a lot of people are focusing on these guys on now, but really is just part of our message to deliver the most amazing, most spectacular live experiences to anyone out there, whether it's an XR, whether they're doing a live concert, whether they're doing even something for the metaverse, which is something that a lot of people are talking about. We able to give something for all these platforms. So a lot of questions are so like, Nicholas, how do I actually start with it? You actually, through the Disguise platform, you can actually start with the designer. So this is something that we offer right now on the website. You can download it. There's also training for it. If any of you are very curious on getting yourselves deeper into the Disguise ecosystem, feel free to contact me. I think our details will be left after this. You can always certainly reach out to me directly. I'm here in KL, Malaysia, by the way, for me to talk more. I'm also planning on dropping by APU tomorrow. So if any of you want to grab me, then I'll be walking around. I'm not sure where exactly I'll be going, probably for the labs, the XR labs and stuff. But I'll be there as well. But in a nutshell, Disguise, what we offer is we offer both the software and the hardware. And that's the stuff that you see behind Nixon in the studio. That's really Disguise running, powering all the LED screens behind him. And we have a lot of integrations as well. If you want to get fancy, now a lot of people are trying motion capture. If you do get fancy with like object recognition and this kind of thing, we can do a lot of cool stuff as well. So that's really kind of like the whole Disguise platform. We offer both the software and the hardware, and we are really around the world. A lot of offices. I'm basically taking care of Southeast Asia for Disguise here in KL. But if any of you have any aspirations of doing something overseas, somewhere else, there's almost an XR stage, I would say, in most of the major countries around the world. So could be a very interesting career path for you. I think the other great thing about Disguise is instead of aside from using it to use XR, it can be used in a variety of verticals. So if you want to use the same Disguise platform for theater, opera stuff, live events, esports, which is very cool. A lot of Unreal Engine stuff there, fixed installations. It's the same platform. So I said, learning Disguise, certainly a very useful skill. You can apply yourself not only to XR, which is the cool thing we're talking about today, but to a lot of other industries as well. And just is kind of won't go too much into the technicalities, but basically, for those of you who want to know, it's a combination of many things. Like you can see behind Nixon, this is my fake background as well. We need to power some sort of LED stages, whether it's big, whether it's small, whether it's curved, whether it's sharp. To us, it doesn't matter what configuration you want. It can even be a single LED panel behind you. I mean, that works as well. We talk to the cameras, and then we just basically tie everything together, make everything look nice. Designs, most days, most people use Unreal Engine. So if any of you out there who's very into Unreal Engine, or you can even download something from the marketplace, you can just copy it to a Disguise XR system, and that's basically it for the design. Disguise kind of just makes everything much easier and ties everything together for you. And this is the thing. So software, like I said, this is actually a free download right now. So for all of you who's very interested into getting into this, go to our website, look for the designer software. If you can't find it, give me a call, give me a WhatsApp, I'll tell you where it is. But this is something you just install on your Windows, try it out. There's a lot of online training as well for it. So all of you can certainly get your hands dirty and know how to use it. And if visiting is possible, 3Particle, XR Stage Malaysia, certainly give them a call. Their studio is in Subang Business Park, so it's near the Subang Airport. Once things get a little bit less crazy with visiting, there'll certainly be a very interesting place for you to take a look at. And designer is great because it's not really a barrier not having supercomputers and LEDs and all that. You can actually just start off small, couple of monitors, couple of screens, connect it to your laptop or your PC or your gaming rig, and you can actually start doing stuff with it. You can really simulate the XR, the cube-shaped wall you see behind Nixon. You can have that in Designer, play some stuff with Unreal Engine, pop it in, and can you see what it looks like. So like I said, barrier of entry is actually very low. So like I say, it's not, of course, having a real set to see, smell, and touch makes a big difference still. But like I said, just starting out, you can actually accomplish quite a lot by going through our software. But the nice thing about this, guys, is a community, because it's not just us alone. There's actually a huge community around the whole system. So like, yeah, once anyone's get into this guy's platform, I mean, there's connections like, yeah, there's Netflix, there's people like Disney. I mean, of course, here in Malaysia, there's already a few companies using XR. There's 3Particle and XR Stage with her with us today. But like I said, we connect you to a lot of community. I mean, Epic Games as well is one of the big ones. So it's kind of like just bringing everyone together to create even more cool stuff. So it's one nice thing about this. And like I said, training, of course, in-person training is nice, but travel's a bit tricky now. But I said, please go to the website, enroll on our training platform. Even if you're not a customer, training is free for everyone, and you can basically learn at your pace. Once you've passed it, you're ready for the proper training. You actually get certificates, which is cool. And if like for the really, really qualified trainers, you actually get your face onto our website. So it's a nice thing to aspire to. So that's kind of like a bit of background of what this guy does, how you can get into it. I won't show so much of the other examples. I mean, Nixon has really covered the advantages of using XR, like yeah, green screens. You don't have to do any chroma. There's no more roto. Thank God. I hate roto. I think no one really likes it, but all these kind of processes just doesn't exist anymore. Easier lighting, better immersion, a lot of advantages of going with XR. And like I said, a lot of things comes together to do XR, but really, like I said, you get all these like real immersions. You're really there. You can see what's going around you. Everyone can see what's going around them. The DOP can play God. It can move the sun from sunset to sunrise and all that. So you can do a lot of like really amazing things in the XR stage. And like I said, it doesn't have to be like super big, like what the examples I'm showing over here. You can have like really, really small examples. And here
Bienvenue au Virtual
it's a nice
Production
example
Studio de
from
PRG.
PRG France. I'll show a little bit of the beginning because I
Ce
wanted to
studio
see.
est doté de la technologie
So this is what you see in the
XR qui
camera
permet de
output.
projeter des décors virtuels sur un mur de LED, comme celui-ci.
And here's, yeah, you can see behind the scenes, behind the cameras, it's kind of like a different thing. It moves with the camera, the graphics moves around, so it's like it's very nice. And then like we have a lot of customers in APAC as well. Korea is really leading the way in using XR for film work. I mean, again, K culture, the Korean culture, the Korean wave is just crazy right now. And a lot of Korean companies are using this for the normal like weekly series, for the long form episode, for launches. Like Korea, a lot of amazing examples over there. So like, yeah, I will say right now in APAC, interestingly, Korea is leading the way in terms of the amount of usage and the amount of customers that uses it. And really the things that you can get away with by doing it in an LED volume is amazing. Earlier, Mandalorian was mentioned. That's kind of like one of the things that started this whole craze of using LEDs instead of green screens. But yeah, in this video, quite brilliant productions. All the scenes you see here, everything is shot on the LED volume. I mean, of course, the actors are real, the props in front are real, but everything you see behind him, like you know, the garage, of course, the car is real. But you can do really a lot of amazing things with virtual production in XR. I mean, you can do outdoor scenes, indoor scenes, sci-fi. Like I said, act as God and control the weather even. And really, as I said, it really opens up a lot of things. And like I said, it travel, like I said, is tricky. Nixon said it as well. And really, this allows a lot of people a lot more creative freedom. You're less subject to the whims and fancies of Mother Nature. And like I said, as long as you have somebody good at designing the scenes in Unreal Engine, you can actually just basically have everything. Unreal Engine is just so photorealistic right now that if you even have like this exercise online, which picture is real and which picture is unreal, and I think I got about half of them wrong. It's like it's so difficult to tell what's real and what's not real in the current standards of rendering. So that's it for me. I just like really wanted to give all of you a taste of like what's who's behind it, how it's done, how you all can get started. And like I said, this is just becoming such a big thing now, even in Malaysia. There's chances to see it over here. And like I said, we are here for you to help. If you have any questions, if you want to know more, you know where to get me and Nixon. And like I said, I'll be walking around tomorrow. So if any of you really want to say hi to me in person, yep, that's oops, sorry, I should stop sharing that. That's for me to do. Stop sharing. Yeah, there you go. All right.
All right. And finally, I've got a chance to come back. Now,
Okay.
thank you very much, Nixon, and as well as Nicholas, for giving us a very comprehensive view in terms of virtual production. Some of the things that has changed in terms of the production process, and of course, Nicholas has the power behind the imagination, I would call it. Without this guys, virtual production would not be able to be where it is today as well. Now, to start off a little bit of a conversation between us, I was actually quite curious as well, Nixon, as you mentioned a while ago about the process and how different is it from the traditional film. I noticed that in certain things there's a bit of a loop. You go up until post, and then from post you go back to story. How real is that in terms of actual production?
Actually, because as Nicholas said earlier, so if the designer can create a very realistic scenes, we actually can. It's very hard when we're doing shoot everything in front of the LED wall. It's so hard to really tell we are in the real set or we shoot inside the studio. Yeah, so this is a difference. So because currently we're working with different productions house or some event as well. So we currently how to say doing different content. So we get to a more experience of different way of shootings compared when we shoot in the real set. So we're trying to move all our contents inside the studio instead we going out because at the moment COVID-19, so it's a bit difficult. We want to shoot outside. And if you want to shoot multiple location and also need to apply permit, or they're a bit difficult. So we try to move all the content inside the one studio. Yeah. So
Understand.
actually it's saving quite a lot of times and then quite impressive what we can do. Yeah.
Also, adding on to that, I think it's a whole paradigm shift as well with the whole processes. I mean, in the past, people say like, "Oh, fix it in post, shoot it on green,
Yes.
deal with it later." There's actually
Yeah.
less of that now. I mean, fixing it later is actually more costly. So it's kind of like a big paradigm shift. Now you really need to do your planning, your storyboards. I mean, animatics last time was kind of like a basic requirement, but now really the storyboards have to be done. The scenes has to be more or less fixed before you even start shooting. Again, take some time for people to adjust, but as a consequence, there's a lot of benefits to it. There's no more, I would say, post hell. It isn't going to an endless cycle of revisions after shooting green. So some people like it. Talents as well. Maybe not so much for the talent agency. They don't like this, but the time you book like really expensive talents, like actors and all that, becomes much less because you shoot, finish camera, you're done. It's just going to the editing room. So it's kind of like saves a lot of time there. And like I said, and again, doing things in Unreal Engine doesn't mean it's like really fixed in stone. We can still move things around, like, oh, maybe the set is not in this position, I want to move it around, or maybe this rock, I don't want it there anymore, move the rock away. You can still do these kind of changes with Unreal Engine, with Disguise and the system. So it's like not like, yeah, oh, this scene is fixed. It's like, oh, I need to change this cactus, move it away, I need to go back to the graphics department. You don't have to do that. So as I said, it is a bit of a paradigm shift. It's a bit of a learning curve, but I would say really weighing the pros and cons, the benefits does outweigh the cons quite a lot.
Definitely. Nicholas, since you come from a post-production background and digital compositing at that, could you share a little bit in terms of technical, when we talk about spills and all, does that still happen in terms of virtual production, whereby we get green spills from
green spills, the eternal nightmare. I mean, really shooting in green, I mean, it's tricky. I mean, if you know what to look out for, I mean, really, to be honest, these days, a lot of these spill, like, you have things like Ultimate, Primate. I mean, if you're going to flame with the Diamond Key, I mean, there's a lot of these cool tools that kind of like fixes the spill, but still it's a post process and it does take time. And if you're having like, depending on the wardrobe, if I'm wearing black, more or less okay, but if someone's wearing white, it's a nightmare. If someone is wearing an armor like the Mandalorian, it's like, don't even think about it. So spill definitely is a bit of an issue, especially for places that doesn't have a proper DOP, or some people ask me, what's a DOP? I mean, it is important. Lighting is key. So I would say with the advantage of having it in LED volume is, like I said, if I'm in the desert scene, the LEDs are brown, that brown is cast onto me. So you do get spill, but it's the right kind of spill. You don't get the green spill anymore, the blue spill. So that's why, I mean, compositors love it. Well, maybe don't love it if you don't have a job anymore, but it's kind of like a good thing that has happened. Lighting as well, because the other problem with green screen is it always has to be brightly lit throughout. You can't have like half the screen in darkness, half the screen brightly lit, because the chroma key will really hate you for it. But with LED screens, you can actually get quite creative. Again, you can have something like very dark on the LED screen, let's say doing some cyberpunk, Blade Runner type style of scenes, and it's flashing lights and it's dark. You can't really do these things in a green screen, but with LEDs, it doesn't matter. If the background's dark, it's dark. If it's bright, it's bright. So, like I said, you get the right spill, and it's just like I said, it makes the whole kind of like cleanup process go away because you don't have to do it anymore.
All right. Thanks on that, Nicholas. I think that's one of the things that really would excite everyone as well. Now, Nixon, just to also understand a little bit more in terms of your roles and responsibilities, how do you see your role as VP director being different from a film director?
Okay, so different. I don't think it's a big difference. I think what we're doing is quite same things, because my roles in XR stage mainly is I would say we have to create contents, okay, and condense, and then this condense going to work with our LED screen, because actually we are just building up the whole systems. So there is still a lot of learnings curve we are still need to experience. Yep. So the difference here is because now I involve a lot of virtual productions. That means a lot of discussion with our writers and with our designers, right? So we have some ideas in mind, but as me as a cinematographer or director, so I'm not really involved with the design, that part. So that means we have a lot of a discussion with designer. So let's say I have these ideas. So can we do this and can we do that? So that means I get involved with the Unreal Engines and also with the designer, how to create all the creative things. And yeah, and this is which I, in traditional way, I'm not involved so much in this production, because in this section mainly we will do in the post. That means we have a draft and then we shoot and then we do everything in the post, then we discuss on the post. Let's say we want to add some things and change something, but in virtual production in XR LED world, so things like work things early. So we can create a story, we can do all the designs and have our scene in ready, so we can see the whole sequence before we do the shooting. So that means sometimes it saves our time on the production side. That means we can prepare everything early, then we just shoot, and then we just prepare the talents and everyone's into the studio. Then we take a 1 or 2 days, we get all the scene we shoot, and then we just go to the post productions. So this is the difference that I'm experiencing at the moment. So we're saving a lot of time in the beginning, but in shooting is more faster. Yeah, and less hassle as well, because all come in the studio, then we can done everything inside one room. Yeah. This is the difference at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, the DOP really comes in much earlier. Yeah, right now. I think it's one of the big changes.
Yeah.
Okay, adding on to that just very quickly, the pre-visualization process is also something very key now. So before, like, people seeing it for the first time, oh, I'm looking at this LED and I seeing for the first time, there is now this really important previs process where everybody involved gets to see, like, oh, this is what the scenes look like, because everything is done beforehand. So it becomes less of a surprise. When you're going to set, I think everybody more or less knows what to expect, what to expect, and I said it just speeds up the whole thing tremendously. That's also another big change that I've seen.
Cool. Nicholas, just to further ask you a couple of questions as well. Now, you've mentioned that right now around the world there are about 11 XR stages. And
Southeast Asia. Southeast Asia.
11. I'm so sorry about that. Southeast Asia, there are 11.
Yeah.
And Korea being one of those that are, I would say, leading the way. in what way is Malaysia, because I saw RTM right there as well and Astro,
Mhm.
but in what way is Astro and RTM working in terms of virtual production? Just to give us a bit of a insight.
Okay, so broadcasters, we've actually done one broadcast project
Mm,
so far in Malaysia. There's actually Malaysia's National Day this year. I mean, that's quite interesting because of COVID. They couldn't have the big thing as per
mm,
every year in Dataran Merdeka, so they kind of like brought it indoors. So there was this XR setup in the studio where it was a bit crazy. It was like a 4 hour show. Everyone was very tired after that. But I think broadcasters are also kind of like very warming up to the idea of XR. And again, broadcasters, they are a big outfit. I mean, there's a news section, there's parts for entertainment, there's part for current affairs, there's part for like just general other stuff. So I think broadcasters being in Malaysia, there's not really that many. I mean, like I said, there's Astro, RTM, there's Media Prima. Now we have new guys coming in like TV Sarawak. So they've kind of like, I would say they're all kind of looking at it in certain aspects. And I would say that it's not, I can say with absolute confidence that it's just a matter of time before it just becomes commonplace. I think really, but the difference is in Malaysia specifically, the fastest adopters are the event companies and the production companies because I would say they're more cyclic. I mean, things they do is like they do one event, do one shoot, finish, and they're done. But broadcasters have to think really long term, like especially for news, it's a 365 kind of thing. Whatever they implement has long term reaching consequences. So they are thinking actually some are actually putting budgets together right now for it. But the one thing I'll say that broadcasters really like is if you're designing a set, for example, everyone imagine like a news set. Very typical. You have a news desk, you have 2 or 3 talking heads, maybe you have some screens around them. Having it all in XR, I mean, it's possible, but a lot of them are thinking that it's actually quite cool to have like just a section of the set in LEDs. Then it becomes used as an LED wall. And then during certain segments, maybe you talk about elections, somebody like walks over there, and then that XR, the LED section becomes a whole 360 world. This really works because if you imagine having a green screen in the middle of the set, it would look super weird. I mean, like people saying, "Hey, what's that green wall over there?" It's just
mm,
so out of
mm,
place. But having an LED wall as part of like a larger set is something that they really like because, like I said, it just becomes another storytelling tool. Other segments it can just be used just to display videos or pictures, but then in certain special segments, it then can be expanded to a whole new way of telling stories. So I say broadcasters, like I said, the good thing about broadcasters is they have the facilities, they're used to working under high pressure environments. But like I say, it's just going to be a matter of time. Even in US as well, Europe, there's actually some that already started using these guys for broadcast. But I would say really the fastest adopters have always been companies like 3Particle, XR Stage, more into the events world where it's like more quick, very fast, do something, shoot it, finish, it's a wrap, and then move on to the next things. And broadcasters always will be the ones I would say will take a little bit more time, but it's going to come.
I see. All right. Now, I've been a little bit, I would say, privileged because I've had both of you talking to me. But
Mhm.
we would like to open up this session as well to the audience who have joined us online to ask questions. Now, feel free to drop in your questions. We will try our very best to accommodate all questions that are coming on screen. I think there is a slight little request that some would love to actually see Nixon if we can have a quick demo in terms of the XR stage behind. We can probably give you a couple of minutes to show that if you want.
Yeah,
Is that possible?
I
Oh,
think
they'll
it's
walk
possible.
around.
Yeah, I think it's
Lovely.
possible.
Walk
So
around.
now we have we have our talents. Right, let me move away from the camera so now you can see. Okay, so okay, what you can see, this is the real scene. Okay, and this is the LED wall. So the talent actually will stand on there. So it different from the LED wall with the green screen because the talent standing on the LED wall, he can see actually surrounding where he's standing. So he don't have to guess where he's standing. And then normally we will have a TV in facing to the front, so the talent actually can see the whole scene. And this is what we call the real time. This is the actual footage that we're shooting. So we have the camera. Maybe I'm going to move around the camera. Then you can see the whole subject is moving, tracking with the cameras. So give me a minute. I'm moving the cameras.
move the camera around, even though the camera is static. So actually the camera previously wasn't moving. But you can see like the shot from like very far away and then zoom in, yeah, all that was done virtually. So like yeah, even though you don't have like a large studio to move the cameras behind, yeah, you can have these cool movements. And yeah, now it's moving the camera. You can see the camera movement. So we look at the screen on the right side there, yeah, so that's the output. So like yeah, when it's moving the camera, you can see everything just gets adjusted according to the camera's perspective. And there's a lot of things taken into account. It's actually quite tricky. There's camera distortions to think about. And one thing you also notice, the LEDs is only this way, but the camera output, you see the scene extending beyond the LED. There's a feature we call set extension. So like, yeah, you don't have to be like a multi-millionaire and buy the largest LED possible if you have a big screen. As long as your LEDs are big enough to completely kind of like 360 surround your talents, that's actually the basic requirements. Of course, the larger your LEDs are, the more they can walk around. But yeah, this is a good example of like, this is what it looks like in the naked eye. By the final output, everything is color corrected properly. You don't even see the seams between the LEDs and what's not LEDs. And
Yeah.
yeah, I can see like it makes sense. Walking past,
I mean,
if you
yeah.
walk outside of it, you get cut
Yeah.
off. That's actually the restriction. So like yeah, the larger of LED you have, the more you can run around.
Yep. Okay, so I'm back again. So yeah. So as you can see, so we're moving the camera, so the background actually moving as well. So this is the footage that we shoot, and then we have, yeah,
Yeah, and the whole thing's an Unreal Engine as well. So like all they needed is have this nice scene in Unreal Engine. Of course, you can have moving objects, like you can see the flowing river in front of the water. Not so easy to see, but there's some moving foliage as well. It's a bit windy in there, so some of the leaves are rustling. But yeah, that's all you need. Just load it into the system, load it into the skies, and just move the cameras around depending on what the DOP or director wants the camera to be at. So that's kind of like simplifying it in a nutshell. But the effect is quite dramatic, and like I said, it's really quite amazing to see it real person. But yeah, thanks Nixon for showing it. This is like a impromptu demo walk around. But I think it
Yes,
was,
I know.
yeah,
I really
it
want
was
to say
cool.
thank you for that. Nixon, I'm also a little curious as well, because
Yeah.
while you were sharing a while ago, you talked about set designers working and things like that. When we talk about set designers, I think in the most traditional terms, we see them as in the art department for film when they have to mix up sets and all. But in this case, in virtual production, the set designers are the ones who are working on Unreal, constructing the scenes and all. So when it comes down to commercials or production, right, is
Yeah.
there a limitation in terms of how long is needed in terms of producing that set so that everything works out well in terms of production timeline?
Okay,
Or is it
into
usually, yeah,
I
sorry.
think in the okay in the set, right, we normally have two types of set. Okay, so we can with two type, one with the LED floor or one without LED floor. Okay, so with the LED floor, normally we will shoot more for the events. So because we want to create a massive stage, so the VIPs or the speaker, they want to stand on the stage. So normally we set the LED floor. But when we do, because we currently have some commercial shoot, right? Yeah. So that means we will have to remove the floor, then we will have a combine two different kind of props. So first, we have to do some front props. Okay, so we will shoot. Let's say in the show reel, you see there's a one demo we shoot is a car. So that means we have to remove the LED floor. So we move the car in front of the wall. Then we can just shoot like the person driving the car. Okay. Yep. So this is the scene, or we can put some tables. Let's say we want to create in the office scene, right? Without rendering a real office, so we can just get some tables and some chair, and then background we can prepare a project, the scene for the office look. Yeah. So then we actually depends on the project we work differently. So let's say if the client he wants some more real props in the front, and then we have to doing the props in the front, and then we also combine the behind the backgrounds and all actually work together. Yeah. So this is the difference. So the timing it depends on what kind of contents, how heavy and the scenes, how difficult or how easy. So it all depends on the contents. Yeah.
Mm, mm,
Yeah.
mm. Thank you. And Nicholas, I just want to pull you up as well,
Mhm.
to ask you in terms of adoption of XR technologies as well as virtual production. Um, what do you see to be possibly, okay, what do you see possibly to be one of the barriers for Malaysia to adopt this on a full large scale in terms of virtual production?
Barriers. I would say number one is I would say I mean cost is another thing, but I would say awareness is
Mm,
still like I would really like to get more people out there. I mean, like I said, a lot of I would say people are still very traditional in a mindset of how production should be done. I mean, again, people have been shooting like stuff on the camera for like almost 100 years now. So like I would say certain mindsets are very rigid in certain how certain things are done. If like especially these like old time directors says, "Oh, I want it my way. I want this to be done." And some of the people are finding it a bit a bit resistant on like adapting to this. They say, "Oh, how can there be no pose?" Or I mean, which is not a bad thing, but some of them were just it's just too much of a paradigm shift for a lot of them. So I think that's really number one. It's just kind of changing the mindset that look, no, you have to have your scenes ready before you go and shoot. I mean, you can't have it done later. It doesn't make sense. And some of the people just can't really, I would say, unfortunately, accept it. But I would say the newer generation of people coming up, especially if I think what's really becoming interesting now is events are not just events. I mean, some of
mm,
you may have heard the buzzword hybrid events. For those of you who do not know what it means, is instead of like say launching a new car, and traditionally for many years people would like book a nice hall, book a nice stadium, bring the car in, open the review the car under the cloth, and that's it, and then it's just done. But nowadays that's just not cutting it. People want to have an experience for the audience on stage, in the venue, and also for people watching it on their mobiles, on the streams. And lately, metaverse as well. I mean, people also want to have more campaigns on the metaverse, saying that this is now our third world. So many people are investing in it. So I think really, I say the adoption is really kind of say a little bit rigid. I would say, unfortunately, in some of the people who are not so much willing to change. But I see the new ones coming in, the more adventurous media companies, marketing companies. They say, I want to have a multi-campaign, metaverse version, live version, have one for the mobile, have one for the. These are the ones that are really, really embracing it. For the main fact that XR kind of solves a lot of these problems. I mean, again, if you're doing everything in Unreal Engine, for example, the same Unreal Engine design is on the XR stage, you see the metaverse, can have a different offline versions, and you kind of like keep your branding consistent. So I would say that yeah, the biggest, if you ask me, number one problem right now, I mean, aside from like I said, is I would say it's not so much awareness, it's just kind of like the whole resistance of the way things have been done for the last 100 years. That's really kind of I think. But then, all of you students out there really aspiring to do it, I would say you're all really the new hope. It's kind of like really, I would say the adoption is much greater with the newer crowd coming into this. So let's say, yeah, really, really looking forward to, yeah, what everyone else is coming up, come up with.
definitely, and I think you've nailed it in the sense of the talent that is coming out. Today's in design schools and broadcast schools are gearing themselves also towards virtual production and also extension of that into the metaverse. And I remember we just had a quick chat off screen a while ago that this guy has something with metaverse. Would you be able to
Yes,
provide a
we've
little bit of light on that? Yeah.
All right, so we've actually done some talks just centered around the metaverse. Also, for those of you who do not know, Epic Games, who owns Unreal Engine, they're the ones who kind of like are now big creators, champions of the metaverse. They actually own part of these guys. They're actually a shareholder of us, so like we are super close to Epic Games. So we actually, yeah, so any of you who wants to know Epic Games as well, happy to introduce them to you. So we've actually been working on a lot of stuff on a few campaigns. Like I said, most of them have been events based, campaign based. There was this event with like Balenciaga and Fortnite, which was quite cool. Ferrari did something. So what we've done is we're using this XR stage, like the one behind Nixon, it as kind of like a gateway into the world of the metaverse. So for example, you can imagine if you have some people like jumping around the stage, this could be again serving the people in front of them, but they could have these people, for example, having like motion capture suits and their avatars are in the metaverse having their 3D representation of them with metahumans as well, kind of like doing their thing in the metaverse. And there's whole different kind of like campaign, kind of like same parallel campaign around it. Or there's even a lot of tests down now with the real audience in the event. There's this volumetric capture. So we're actually capturing the audience in the real event, bringing them into the metaverse. So whenever people are in the metaverse, they can actually see the audience around them. So there's a lot of cool stuff that's being done. Again, it is a very, very kind of like a new thing. A lot of people are getting into it. There's no even like real hard definition about what a metaverse should be like. But like I said, it's definitely something that this guys is doing a lot of. And there's also a lot of other discussions like NFTs. It's like, yeah, there's another big monetization part of the currency of the metaverse, so to say. People are doing a lot of things around it. So yeah, I would say in summary, think of these guys, XR specifically, as the gateway from the real world into the metaverse. It's kind of like the bridge or the teleport, so to say. So like, yeah, you do something in XR, it's actually just a smaller extension of the larger part of the metaverse. So it's pretty cool, pretty exciting stuff. I'm sure it's going to just become crazy. And just judging by the news I'm reading every week on the metaverse, yeah, people are always kind of like really pushing the boundaries and trying new things with it.
By you sharing just that, I'm just thinking on my end, I'm ready to go Ready Player One right now.
No, yeah, it's really getting there. I mean, even with the headsets and all that, technologies have just the cost of the headsets have gone down so much, and the whole immersion thing with it has just. I mean, the barrier of entry has gotten so much lower now. So like anybody, even from students to hobbyists, in the past, to go for a more full motion capture suit, you can buy a small shop lot from it. Nowadays, you can rent it, cost a few $1,000s. I mean, still maybe it's not pocket change, but the barriers of entry have really gotten much lower. And people are using things like iPhones for facial capture. There's even some facial captures without any sensors now. It just uses AI. So it's really like, it's an amazing field. And like I said, investing in these guys, going into this whole thing is like, yeah, it's just kind of like solves, I say, a lot of problems of how do you really get into the metaverse. We kind of like, I said, we kind of tick a lot of boxes with that.
Definitely. Thanks, Nicholas. And I'll definitely encourage you to drop by tomorrow, because actually one of our students' projects was actually using an iPhone and translating the expressions and whatnot onto a digital character on Unreal. So probably there's
amazing.
something that you
Okay.
can take a look in terms of the tech, and maybe start off a conversation how we can also take this to the next level. But
All right. Yeah.
we do have a question. Yes, we do have a question from the audience, and this is from MK. In what way do you think that traditional production formats will still be relevant in the future? I think we direct this to Nixon. All right.
Okay. Let me read the question again.
In what way
Yeah,
do you think
in
that
what way?
traditional production format, yes, will still be relevant in the future?
I think traditional productions and virtual production, I think both, I would say is different way of produce or shooting our contents. So because sometimes we still will follow the traditional production way. That means we still have to go outside to looking for some real set of place for shootings, and some content we want to do which is we cannot get on the real set on times, then we can do inside the studio. So I think uh, for me, I think both is still the same at the moment. Yeah, they will not have
Definitely.
a
And
big changing. Yeah.
Nicholas, is there something you want to add on to that?
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it's really, to me, it basically comes down to storytelling. I mean, everybody needs to tell the stories. And I think that since the dawn of humankind, it's not really kind of changed that much. There needs to be a narrative, there needs to be a message. You still need to start with your storyboards, your animatics, and end of the day, there's a message you want to convey. I mean, that whole structure doesn't change. But we're talking about like technical formats. This is something that really will change. I mean, many years we've been using analog, it's turned to digital, in the broadcast formats, and now a lot of broadcasters are going IP. I mean, and again, just standards. We're talking about video formats, H264, H265 for compressed, uncompressed. I mean, the technical formats will always kind of evolve. I would say things of I say this kind of like technical stuff is there's always going to be something new. People are talking about like cloud rendering, final pixel streaming. I mean, these are all new things that people are doing. But I would say still if you're just talking about the formats of producing something, narrative and all that, I think that's not really going to change that much. And of course, there are certain efficiencies people gain now by maybe say having AI kind of like help with the script writing process, which actually is quite scarily efficient. I've seen some scripts written by AI, it's quite amazing. But still, like I said, end of the day, what is the story you want to tell? What is the narrative? And I think that whole process with the humans coming in, us as humans, And I said whether you want to go out, if like I say you want to go to like Malacca, A Famosa, you're taking a camera, doing photogrammetry, taking it out, putting to Unreal, building it from scratch. I think that's always kind of like there's always going to be new innovations coming with it. But like I said, storytelling is a story as old as mankind. So I think that's not going to change for sure. But technical formats, yeah, it's always an ever-changing game.
Definitely, and I think you guys have put it very nicely. It's not that the traditional way of shooting is going to disappear from the face of the
Mm.
earth. It's just taking its different form and evolving together with technology as well. Now, I'm very curious to also know in terms of um, how we see the talent pool that's being developed. What are some of the shortages that is present in terms of virtual production? And we're talking about talent over here. What kind of
Mm.
shortage is there? Because I can say that most of the time we are very familiar with the post production. We've got the compositors, we've got the 3D guys who work on sets and all, but and that's mainly for television commercials or feature films. But what are some of the key shortages of talent within virtual production today? Maybe Nixon, you can take that question.
Okay. You might
Mm.
repeat again, so I'm not so, yeah,
Ah,
sure.
what are some
Yeah,
of the shortage of talent that you
yeah.
see right now in virtual production?
Oh, okay. In
Mm.
virtual productions, wait, let me go into the page. Okay. So at the moment, we are looking for. Okay, so we have, actually we do have quite numbers of specialists. So actually, we're looking for Unreal Engine technical artists as well. Yeah,
Okay,
and
I
then
see.
motion graphic artist, and video editor, and XR operator, and also virtual production assistants. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, all these actually we quite need the numbers of members and who can join us. Yeah, to create the more contents, and yeah,
Okay, out of the ones that you mentioned, I'm familiar with some of them, but I'm actually curious with one of it specifically. What
yeah.
exactly is an XR operator? What exactly do they do?
XR operator. Okay, so they actually need to because the XR operator mainly just sit, of course, beside the computers, and then he
Mm-hmm.
operate the whole, help to operate the whole sequence. Yeah, behind the computers. Yeah, because mostly yeah, the director will be sit in front of the monitor, and then he look at the look at the view, and then let's say we want to change the, let's say Nicholas earlier he mentioned that, so we can change. Sorry, wait a minute. Okay, I do have a description from here. Let me okay. So let me describe more clearly. So it's actually need to work along with the VP director, which is me, and then the whole shooting sequence. So because what we say when we're shooting, we actually both way have to sync together. Let's say behind the computer and also in front of the LED screen. So let's say if you want to change the scene, or you want to of course move the subject. Let's say move the subject from the LED wall, or we want to change the colors. And let's say if we project some subject in front of the contents, so we need to move and we need to change the light, all sorts of any changing. So this person actually need to know how to collaboration between the um, director and then with the designer team as well. Yeah, because when we all the shooting on time, so time very important. So we need to move, adjust all these things faster. So this is what we came up with the XR operators. They're helping to it's a bridge between the production and then with the designer part. Yeah,
Ah,
yeah.
interesting,
So it's a quite
interesting.
new. It's a new position. Actually, we finding we need someone like this, so can help us to make things more smooth. Actually,
I see, I see. I would really have to say as well when we
yeah,
when we look at the way technology is affecting our daily lives, they also have mentioned that some things that you learn in school when you went to school and you learned will cease to be relevant when you come out to work because of the way technology has progressed that much. But from what I've witnessed between Nixon as well as Nicholas, those things, although they change, but you bring that wealth of experience within that industry, like your post production, and of course Nixon in terms of cinematography. Okay, so um, in the sense that in our creative field, we don't run out of jobs, but we evolve with the technology to fit into new roles as well. And I can see that being done, especially with both Nixon as well as Nicholas. Now, we are almost reaching to the end of our session, and I would like to ask if Nixon, you have anything you would like to leave with the audience today, or any last words you would like to share with them?
I think what we need to share, right? So mainly we are also looking for any students, so which is who are really interested to come to get to know more. Oops, I'm sorry, the table moving again.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, I would say get to know more XR, how the process work, and they want to joining our team. So maybe they can send the resume to us. Yep. Then we can go through is any students that interested, they want to join us. Yeah, this is for my end. Yeah,
they're looking
Okay,
for
thanks,
people.
Nixon.
So
yeah, looking for people basically. Yeah,
they're looking for people. Good
Well,
message.
Nixon is a very fun guy to work with. I can get that vibe
yeah.
already. All right.
Is it more
And
very
about
direct?
you,
Is it?
no, no, no. I mean,
Yeah,
we can see the enthusiasm that you bring in terms
yeah.
of the work that you're passionate about. It can be seen.
Mm.
Uh, what about you, Nicholas? Is there anything you would like to leave with our audience today?
And just one quick question. What skill sets
Mm,
should I have for X operator? I think very quickly, be a good
mm,
listener, be very fast to react, and yeah, again, I think Leroy mentioned it very well. Stay hungry. I mean, even I'm learning new things almost every day in this job. I think the skill sets you develop as now as a student from the university, it's kind of like teaches you how to just be like a sponge, learn as much as you can. But really, Excel operators, you need to react very fast on the job. If the director wants something like move the sun from left to right, yeah, you need to actually know what to do, understand the systems, and like I said, just being a very good listener, communicator, and be very good with technology because I said the systems takes there is a learning process, but once you get the hang of it, it just becomes second nature. And really, XR operators, I would say the advanced courses we call it creative sequencing, where yeah, you really get fancy with the sequences. Like you actually move the lights, you control even like if you want a fan blowing in the talent, and we can do a lot of crazy things in the system. So yeah, it's quite an interesting pathway. And the really crazy ones go on to do like the live concerts where you're controlling tons of screens, tons of pyro, tons of lights. Those are like the really crazy XR operators. They actually move on to like big concerts like for Ariana Grande and Katy Perry, all these big concerts. They actually brought over there and they paid very well actually. So it's another thing. So yeah, hope that answers your question. Was it Baby Choti? So yeah, that's how his
yes.
name. And yeah, lastly for me, I said it's a very exciting field. Luckily, I think also for Malaysia, there are places, opportunities to learn. And that's also me. Don't be a stranger. I said happy to connect with anybody if anybody has questions. I think it's just about me. I'm happy. The more that knows about XR, the happier I am. The better I sleep at night. And like I said really seriously, don't be strangers. Happy to kind of share it. And again, this session has been very fun. If you want to have another session specifically on any other aspects of the technology or case studies or anything, always happy to kind of do another one. Maybe next one in person if the situation
Definitely.
is crazy. Happy to always drop by, bring me a place, and I can always talk about the subject to people in the live audience. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Nicholas, on that. So just to wrap up as well, thank you very much to Nixon as well as Nicholas for joining us today on venturing into virtual production. Just a quick reminder to those who have joined us online. A feedback form is available on the comments section. Please fill that up and you'll be issued your e-certs as well. Don't forget to join us tomorrow at 10:30 for as we feature Kit Bashing with IBFMC with Fahmi Hashim and Hafiz Basri. That will be a live session done here right on our Upit campus. They will be bringing some really cool stuff over and hope to see you guys there. And at 2:30, we will have another session for talk show called The Future of Digital Advertising in Malaysia with Randolph Tan, managing partner of Digitas. So again, thank you very much, guys, and we hope to see you soon. Bye.
All right. Thank you. Till next time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.